and it's in this 27-kilometre tunnel that senior physicist Dr. Richard Jacobson hopes to find some answers.
Best way to get around the tunnel.
Yeah, exactly. No, there are many long walks to do to find your working place, so clearly this is the efficient way. The Large Hadron Collider is nothing but an instrument. It's like a microscope. It's to see into nature. It's to see into its tiniest detail, to understand it at its fundamentals.
Right now, I'm about 80 metres underground in Switzerland. France is a few hundred metres that way. Normally, while the collider is operating, this area is strictly off limits. It generates so much power, the only safe spot is above the ground. Within this immense pipeline are a series of electric fields that propel particles to the speed of light that rocket into one another.
It's actually a continuous period of collision where we have about 30 million collisions between lumps of protons in every experiment per second for up to 10-15 hours.
The machine's greatest discovery, the Higgs boson or God particle, confirmed long-held theories about the universe, why everything has mass and by extension weight.
It would have been a different universe completely without this Higgs field.
Okay guys, g'day, how are you? Just thought I'd show you what Cern is all about. So thanks for watching. Yeah, well check this out guys. What I was doing was checking the videos, of course, you know, and they're saying they're trying to get the God particle. What a load of poppycock, eh? I mean, God is God, that's it, He created the universe, get over it. Now, this guy here, right, he's Professor Otto E. Rosler. Now, he is saying that when they started these CERN colliders, there's 3 of them, the other one's getting fired up in March to match the others. It's going to be double its power. That's what they did. They wanted more power. Now he's saying that all these people, these scientists here, when they first, he's in a wheelchair by the way, Stephen Hawking. Now he is one of, you know, he's a very, very smart man here. Now he's going against Einstein's theory. Now they wanted to, this guy here said that they wanted to create a black hole when they first started the CERN. What the? So this guy here, right, he's saying that if it makes a black hole, it's dangerous because they're only tiny black holes they make, but they can make millions of them. And also he said if they escape or float away, whatever, they actually grow, right? And he said if one gets into the Earth, it can eat out the Earth within 2 years. Yeah? Woo. And the Sun, if it escapes. Now, he said they've stopped talking about the black hole, and they're talking more about the God particle. So they found a resistance. This gentleman here said that a well-known scientist, he's saying that he likes to be proven that he's wrong because he said it's dangerous, and he said prove him wrong. He said I want to look like an idiot because he said I want to. He said so they can prove me wrong. He's going with Einstein's theory. This guy here, they're all 3 top brains, of course. Stephen Hawking. He's saying that it's not dangerous, and this guy here said he's going against Einstein. I thought Einstein was the super duper, you know. You got to watch these interviews, guys. He's very, very, very good. This gentleman, he is. I'll leave the link so you can listen to it. But he's saying that first when they started, they wanted to create a black hole, and now they must have realised it needs more oomph. So they've shut it down, the 3rd one, and they're firing it up in March, guys. What the? So he's saying, why don't we have a discussion about the whole on the planet, have a discussion about whether they want the scientists to do this. He said, why not go the safe way? Because we know why they won't go the safe way, guys, don't we? Hello. I mean, we're run by evil entities that will do anything. If it's going to destroy something, they'll do it. You know? So a black hole, he reckons that they might be tiny. He said, but they grow. And he said if one connects with the Earth, or he said that they said, oh, they'll float away, but he said that they can get stuck and they go inside the Earth or the Sun or the Moon and eat it out from the inside. There you go, guys. What the? Hey? Hey? Oh, wouldn't mind that with my exes. I'm kidding. I don't mean harm to anyone. Oh, wait on, let me rethink that. No, I'm only kidding. I'm badass. I'm a badass. No, I'm not. I'm a chicken. No, I'm not. Alrighty, guys. Take care. God bless. Stay safe. I'll leave the links because I think it's quite interesting. Hey, we're all wondering about CERN, right? And I'll leave the links to how it's. Hang on, let's have a look at this one here. Oh yeah, this one here. This is the CERN here. Oh, we'll shut him up, eh? Watch the world being built. Oh, there's thousands of scientists don't know what they're doing. They think they're doing a great job, don't they? Oh yeah, this is going to make a black hole. There you go, guys. That's the CERN. It's going to make a black hole and eat out the Earth, maybe. I mean, I'm just, saying that the gentleman there said they've stopped talking about the black hole now. They're doing the God particle. Who created the universe, or what created it? What? They have to get over it. I mean, Satan would like to have been the one, but he wasn't. God was. God made him. I mean, and threw him down to Earth, and then this is where all the trouble come from. But this CERN is a bit, alarming. In March when they fired up, he said that professor said, "Let's go to the safe way, have a discussion for a week." He said, "Surely they can wait a week, and delay it for a week." Yeah, but I don't think they're going to do that, guys. Anyway, all right. Well, God bless. Stay safe. Big shout out to Star and his mum. Mwah, kisses, and everyone else. Big hugs to all my subs. You all rock, guys, and I just thought that was interesting, I hope you do, because it's, they fired up the third one in March, double the power. Double the black hole? Anyway, bye, guys.
Or under here, or you can put it on the back. You don't need like... Are you leaving the bag on the chair? Okay, well, just put the radio mic under there.
Well, I think it's time to start. Can you hear me? Good. Well, obviously, Stephen Hawking doesn't need an introduction, but one thing that is important is that if you want to take pictures, please remove the flash. As you will see, he can only communicate through his eye, and therefore if he gets blurred or this vision, he cannot see, and therefore he cannot communicate. So you are certainly welcome to take as many pictures as you like, but please make sure that the flash is off. Okay? Anyway, we are really very happy that Geneva University is celebrating its 450th anniversary, because as vultures, we jumped on their backs to be able to have Stephen Hawking here. So Stephen is going to speak today here, slightly more technical talk. Next week he will give a public talk in Geneva University in Unimai, and I guess that you are all welcome to go. Now, without any further ado, I would like to introduce you to Professor Stephen Hawking.
Can you hear me? According to the Page Indians, in the beginning nothing existed, only darkness was everywhere. Suddenly, a thin disk emerged from the darkness, one side yellow, and the other white, appearing suspended in midair. Within the disk sat the Creator, the one who lives above. When he looked into the endless darkness, light appeared above. He looked down and it became a sea of light. To the east, he created yellow streaks of dawn. To the west, tints of many colors appeared everywhere. Similar creation myths occur in other cultures. They are early attempts to answer the age-old questions. Why are we here? Where did we come from? A key question was, did the universe have a beginning? Was there a moment of creation? Or had the universe existed forever? The answer generally given was that humans at least were of comparatively recent origin, because it must have been obvious, even at early times, that the human race was improving in knowledge and technology. So it can't have been around that long, or it would have progressed even more. For example, according to Bishop Ussher, the book of Genesis placed the creation of the world at 9 in the morning, on October the 27th, 4004 BC. However, there were others who argued that the universe had had no beginning, but had existed forever. For example, Aristotle, the most famous of the Greek philosophers, believed the universe had existed forever. Something eternal is more perfect than something created. He suggested the reason we see progress was that floods, or other natural disasters, had repeatedly set civilization back to the beginning. The motivation for believing in an eternal universe was the desire to avoid invoking divine intervention to create the universe and set it going. Conversely, those who believed the universe had a beginning used it as an argument for the existence of God as the first cause or prime mover of the universe. This division of opinion has continued to the present day. Many scientists have felt it necessary to believe that the universe has existed forever in order to avoid a moment of creation at which the laws of physics broke down and one would have to invoke a divine creator. For example, Hoyle invoked the steady state theory in order to avoid a breakdown of physics at the Big Bang. Although in its original form, the steady state theory was ruled out by observation, it has been revived with a much higher expansion rate by the idea that there is eternal inflation in the early universe. Again, this avoids a beginning, a moment of creation. A similar motivation seems to exist for the pre-Big Bang and ecpyrotic universes. The aim of this lecture is to show that the universe can have a beginning without any breakdown in the laws of physics. Quantum theory causes universes to be spontaneously created out of nothing. The amplitude for this can be calculated using standard techniques applied in a non-standard way. According to Feynman's idea of a sum over histories, the quantum state of the universe at the present time is given by a path integral over all fields that interpolate between an initial surface and the present surface. This is standard quantum field theory. The non-standard part is that Hartle and I showed there is a non-zero amplitude for the final state, even when there is no initial surface. This is given by a path integral over all fields on a region whose only boundary is the final surface. One might well ask, how can there be a region with a final surface, but no initial surface? This is indeed impossible with a real space-time metric, unless it has closed time-like curves and violations of causality. However, in order to define path integrals, it is necessary to Wick-rotate them. One changes the time coordinate, t, to imaginary time, tau equals it. This changes the Lorentzian metric of Minkowski space to the positive definite metric of Euclidean space. The path integral becomes an integral over a damped exponential rather than oscillatory. It suggests that in quantum gravity, one should take the path integral to be over all positive definite metrics. This so-called Euclidean approach to quantum gravity has been very successful with black holes and is the basis of the ADS-CFT correspondence. The obvious interpretation of the amplitude for a final surface, but no initial surface, is that it is the amplitude for the spontaneous creation of universes out of nothing. Given that this amplitude is non-zero, it is reasonable to suppose that it is the total amplitude, and that there is no contribution from initial surfaces. This is called the no-boundary proposal. It implies that the universe is self-contained and determined by the laws of physics alone. There are no initial conditions set by a supernatural agency. I shall describe the consequences of the no-boundary condition for the universe. This is based on joint work with Jim Hartle and Thomas Hertog. I shall assume that the universe contains one or more scalar fields, phi. For simplicity, I shall describe the case of a single scalar field, but the extension to many fields is straightforward. The scalar fields will have a potential, V. I shall assume that V is positive everywhere and has a small positive minimum value, V0, at phi equals 0. then for small phi, v will be quadratic, plus a constant. The amplitude for spontaneously created universes, psi, will be a functional of the metric, h, of the final surface, and the scalar field on the surface. Psi is given by a path integral over all metrics and scalar fields, on a region whose only boundary is the final surface. Psi can be estimated by the saddle point approximation. The prefactor, A, is normally ignored and set to 1. For small final surfaces, the solution of the classical field equations will have a positive definite or Euclidean metric, and the action, B, will be real. However, for large final surfaces, the solution and the action will be complex. The complex solutions will be semi-classical, with the imaginary part of the action varying much more rapidly than the real part. They will tend to real spacetimes at large radius. Thus there is an amplitude for universes to be spontaneously created out of nothing.
Have you ever noticed how a good part of the North American coastline follows a circle? Or that South America is shaped like a triangle and a rectangle, which turn out to combine into a Fibonacci spiral? This landscape geometry is based on exact proportions of the Earth's circumference, on the deepest place on Earth, and, in a very precise way, on both the position and the size of the Large Hadron Collider at Cern. Consider a line running from the Great Pyramid going exactly through the center of the Large Hadron Collider. This line ends up passing within 1.3 kilometers of the Mount Carmel Center, better known as the site of the Waco siege. On this site, 76 people died on April 19, 1993, when their compound was burned after a 51-day standoff with the authorities. Waco is noteworthy along this Cern line because it is situated such that its precise location defines the center of the North American circle by being at an exact golden ratio point along the circle's radius, which is 2,160 nautical miles, or precisely 1/10 of the Earth's circumference. Creating an analog 2,160 nautical mile circle on the center of the Large Hadron Collider defines a bisector between North America and Europe. This continental bisector intersects with another great circle that runs down the east coast of South America and through the deepest part of O'Higgins San Martin Lake, which is the deepest in South America and the 5th deepest in the world. The other point defining this great circle is Challenger Deep, the deepest spot on Earth. Notice how it also passes very close to Cern. Taking a closer look at the Large Hadron Collider for a moment, we lay out a circle of 86,400 foot circumference centered on the Large Hadron Collider, and see that it passes through all 4 of the collision points along the accelerator where the massive detectors are located. We define a vesica Pisces by laying out the same sized circle passing through the center of the LHC and aligned with our Great Pyramid to Waco, Texas line. This geometry syncs up with a larger circle that nestles between the Vesica Pisces and the Challenger Deep line we defined before looking closer at Cern. This circle has an exact circumference of 216 kilometers, which is continuing the fractal pattern from the continent-sized circles and the Large Hadron Collider circumference. To be clear, the circle is depicted as being exactly tangent to the line, but there's actually a few kilometers of play with this particular alignment. While the Challenger Deep end is anchored by a precise Wikipedia point, the O'Higgins-San Martin end is a deep area and is not a point. The number 216 resonates across both terrestrial and celestial realms. The Earth's circumference, for example, is 21,600 nautical miles. We see that the Sun is 864,000 miles in diameter, and the Moon is 2,160 miles across. 864 is a multiple of 216. There are also 86,400 seconds in a day, reflecting the 2016 resonance into the temporal. Now, many have commented on how Cern's logo seems to contain 3 sixes. Perhaps that is true given that 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. Following through, we see that a Vesica Pisces of sorts is left once the sixes are taken away. Potent symbology, 666 coming from the Vesica Pisces, considering that 666 is well known as the number of man. Again, extreme geography is playing into the mix, with Mont Blanc, the highest peak in Europe, being 7 kilometers from our world deep line. Zooming out, we can see how Europe and Africa follow our alignments, and how the Challenger Deep line almost exactly separates Europe and Africa at the Strait of Gibraltar. The line passes within 4 kilometers of the African Pillar of Hercules. The intersection of the Cern/North America Vesica Pisces bisector and the Challenger Deep line define a precise location on the Earth from which we'll lay out the rest of the geometry in this video. The coastline of South America follows 3 great circles, each having a circumference of 21,600 nautical miles equal to that of the Earth. These 3 great circles form a wedge that is 1/8 of the world's circumference by 1/4 of the Earth's circumference. Notice how this lays out an equator along the north edge and a pole at the south apex. Bisect the wedge and define another perpendicular pole. Sweep out a line about this pole to the Ahu-Akivi Moe on Easter Island. These 7 statues face sunset on each equinox and are the only astronomically precise ancient feature on the island. This alignment passes through the southern tip of South America and precisely past Cape Horn, the most southerly spot in South America. We'll sweep out another line around our east pole to the region where the circle rounds into the straight edge of Chile's east coast, thus completing a box around the top of South America. Now divide the top edge into a golden ratio, and by adding a circle, we see that the box is actually a golden rectangle in some sense. Copying this circle down will create another golden section line. Sweeping out from the end of this to exactly 45 degrees, or 1/8 of 360 degrees, we see that the west coast of South America is aligned, and that we have another fractal of 216. Expanding this pattern implies a Fibonacci spiral. One final line that creates another golden ratio division provides the backbone on which the North and South America connector sits. Adding back in our North America circle with its Cern to Waco bisector, we see that this phi connector comes within 10.4 kilometers of where the Cern to Waco line intersects the circle.
So one last line, if you recall the line we just drew connecting North America to South America at the phi division of the upper portion of South America. If you do one perpendicular to that, it goes right through the mouth of the Amazon and continues on to Stonehenge within 13.2 kilometers. So here we have Easter Island and Stonehenge playing a role in laying out, or however you want to put it, the South American continent. And it just, you know, from what I've seen in the research, this kind of thing, it just goes on and on and on. And so if you're interested, perhaps consider going to bedrockgeometry.com and signing up for the newsletter. And yeah, and I'll fire you some stuff, some secret stuff. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it.
We believe, though we cannot yet prove, that our multiverse of universes is 11-dimensional.
Now, wormholes are predicted by mathematical calculations. It certainly seems to be theoretically possible.
Universe in different dimensions, floating in a much larger arena. This larger arena is the hyperspace that I talked about originally.
Entrada a la ciudad de la Inca de Machu.
If you look at the trees, you know, it's right here. I mean, it's 300 foot up.
It's very intense, bright lights. I keep hearing that over and over and over, and they spanned a wide area.
Just when you thought there could not be more change going on in the world, magnetic north is moving. Aviators know it has always moved, but not like this. It's just skipping along. It's on the move about 40 miles a year now along the polar cap toward Russia. Well, hey, get used to it. Einstein was wrong.
Well, a major announcement today by NASA that a new form of life has been discovered right here on Earth.
Where they come from, I don't know. But it's one thing I know for sure. They've landed on Earth and they've come among us.
They keep us homeless. We can't even get a job.
Before too long, the evidence will be incontrovertible that you will have on your TV screens and on your movie screens concrete evidence.
We are infected with a lot of them around here, and especially around here and everywhere we look at.
And that they are real, and they're not fantastic things which have been cooked up to make a movie.
It isolates you from other people in population, and then they dope you up.
They ask you, are you an alien?
I don't feel like I belong here.
The unrest is being caused by thugs. They're hired by the system to turn the public against the immigrants. I say follow the money.
Is the job market drying up as a result of this? Plenty of jobs. They're taking the teenager jobs, the McDonald's jobs, everything.
You better be ready to protect yourself. Because it's one thing I don't understand. What they want.
You're going to see all of them change. They know the gig is up.
You're encouraging a violent confrontation from people that have done nothing wrong.
The police and any authority, they make you feel like aliens.
Not good. It's not good at all.
One of my friends just disappeared. I think he was abducted.
Pretty soon, there ain't going to be any humans.
Like black creatures crawling around in it.
They try to make it seem like it's just a horror movie, but it's really not a horror movie. It's really an actual thing, and they use that as a cover-up.
From LA, from Hollywood to come.
How long they been here, what they been doing, unexplainable.
I think the government ain't doing nothing to prevent this, and I also believe that they're covering it up with medication.
You never ask a system to teach you values, because the values of the system is all cover it.
I'm telling you, the system has everyone in their pocket.
They look like us, and they're among us. For all I know, you could be one.
Then they're going to try to cover it up, and then they're going to try to bring it out.
Videotaping us, letting your society know this is what's going on Earth.